A Karen buys enough of our product to get a $10 coupon. It gets sent to the wrong address, so we offer to give her a $25 coupon as an apology. But that isn't enough. She loses it and ends up suing my company, and in the process loses $2,000. Here's how it happened. Subscribe to Am I the Jerk on YouTube and hit the bell to turn on notifications. This story is from a few years ago when I worked in the legal department of a 1,000 plus store national retailer. As a part of my job, I handled customer complaints that elevated when the customer threatened legal action. Our customer service center forwarded Karen's call to me after she threatened to take legal action. Karen left a message claiming that she was not provided $10 in customer reward coupons, where you spend $200 and receive $10 in coupons in the mail sort of thing. This was before apps, based on her purchase of clothing for her son and daughter for back to school. I looked into it and I called Karen back. It turned out we had an old address associated with her rewards account. No big deal, right? Well, I spoke to Karen and offered to send her the original $10 coupon and an additional $25 for her trouble to the correct address. That did not satisfy Karen. She claimed we should have known her address and threatened to sue us if we didn't pay her $1,000 cash. Her rationale was that it would cost us at least $1,000 to defend the suit. She was in a state which our company did not have any offices, so we should just pay it to her. I declined, but still forwarded her the $10 coupon that she was entitled to pursuant to our rewards program. Sure enough, she sued us for breach of contract, fraud, and any other conceivable charge. I went to my boss, the COO, and I told him this story. He asked what I wanted to do. I said I'd rather pay legal fees to a defense attorney than pay Karen $1,000, and he agreed. I contacted outside counsel, our awesome attorney, explained the situation to him, and I kid you not, he said in a southern drawl,
"Oh yeah, I get to sue Karen? I should be paying you guys." There are a lot of lawyers in the legal community who would love to sue her, as she is reckless, unpleasant, and a total pain in the behind to deal with. I'll gladly take your case.
He agreed to defend us at a reduced rate. Part of our defense strategy was to countersue her under the state's frivolous lawsuit statute, which would move the suit from small claims court into the larger civil court. Awesome attorney filed our answer and counterclaim. Although Karen was an attorney, she was not a defense attorney, so she had to engage her own attorney to defend against the counterclaim. After a couple of hearings, she offered to settle for no more money exchanged. She didn't even get the extra $25 coupon that I offered her, and the dismissal of both suits. I talked with Awesome Attorney about continuing our claim, but he advised it would probably be worth settling and being done with it rather than being vindictive. Although being vindictive would have been fun, courts tend not to like that, so I agreed. My company ended up paying the Awesome Attorney $900 in attorney fees. The Awesome Attorney later called and told us that the Karen attorney charged her $1,700 to defend the suit. Although I would have liked to continue with our suit, I think her having to pay $1,700 over a $10 coupon sent to the wrong address is sufficient justice. Was I the jerk? Getting offered the original $25 coupon is pretty good because it was an addition to the original $10 coupon. So even if it wasn't, that would still be 2.5 times what you were supposed to get, but it was that plus the original $10 coupon, which I think for most people, getting $35 for free in exchange for this promo is a pretty good deal, but not this person. She wanted the $1,000 in cash and it totally blew up in her face. So instead of taking $35 free dollars, she spent the $200 originally, paid $1,700 to defend herself, and then of course didn't get the $35 that she was supposed to get in the first place before going down this route. So all in all, she went basically almost negative $2,000 instead of just getting the free money from the coupon. It's interesting that the attorney already knew exactly who she was and was eager to want to jump in on this and try to sue her. So it makes me wonder, what did she do in the past to make him dislike her that much before even knowing about this scenario? So let me know how you would have handled this down below, and jerk or not a jerk, and why. The client is not always right. A sexist client gets recorded and canned from his cushy, high-paying job that he didn't deserve. Here's how. I work at a big ad agency with large companies as our clients. We expect to work in partnership with our clients. We fire clients that treat us poorly. Usually we treat each other with respect. Our biggest client has 5 different teams we work with, and one of them was led by by Baseball Dad. Baseball Dad was the type of necklace marshmallow who gets wasted at his kid's baseball game and starts heckling the other kids. Just a boorish jerk. He never approved any of our work, putting out awful stuff that his internal team made, even though he's paying us literally millions of dollars to make ads for him. His product was struggling to sell and he blamed us, even though we were killing it with the other 4 teams. He didn't know this, which comes back to bite him later. However, none of this is why we needed revenge. I don't care if a client wants to fail, I collect my paycheck regardless. But he crossed several lines. Number 1, he was extremely sexist. He used to call my female coworkers sweetheart in the most condescending voice, comment on their clothes and bodies, and wink and smirk at me while they were talking because we are both men, I guess. These women are highly accomplished, serious people, and they are like family to me. A huge misplay on his part. Number 2, Baseball Dad was abusive to us. He would constantly interrupt us, tell us to shut up, call us vendors, and remind us that he could fire us at any time. Number 3, Baseball Dad would lie. He would tell his boss, an actual nice guy but too busy to check closely, that we missed deadlines or forgot deliverables because he never checked his email. We would then have to awkwardly struggle to prove Baseball Dad wrong without calling him a liar so that we could keep the business. He never owned up to anything that he said to us on the phone. And lastly, number 4, the final straw took place on a call between Baseball Dad and one of my project managers. I saw her run out of a room crying. She told me Baseball Dad said to her in a one-on-one call that she should worry less about budgets and more about wearing that nice top that she wore at our last presentation. Gross. Revenge time. I told my cool boss that our team had enough of Baseball Dad. We were at our wits' end with his nonsense. Several of my coworkers were looking for new jobs. It's hard to hire good people, so my boss asked me to give her a day to figure this out. She wanted to lose Baseball Dad without the entire business. The next day, she showed up with our IT guy who set up voice recording on our conference line. It's illegal to record people without consent in my state, but Baseball Dad was late to every call. Too bad, because if he ever had showed up on time, he would have heard the new message kicking off every call. This call is recorded. His team heard it and had no problem with it. I suspect they hated him too. For the next 2 weeks, we recorded everything, every word of it. One of my audio engineers made a supercut of every terrible thing Baseball Dad said. Every sweetheart, shut up, no one cares what you think. My project manager even baited him into repeating what he said about her clothes on a budget call. This time, he literally said,
"You're much better at flirting than budget, sweetheart. That's why I like you."
The supercut sounded insane when we played it all together. It was an incredible piece of evidence. We sent it to his boss and his vice president and threatened to walk away from the work 2 weeks before product launch if Baseball Dad wasn't disciplined. They immediately apologized and begged us not to leave. They said it would be handled by Monday. My one sweet project manager had been so grossed out she got to do the best part of the revenge. She anonymously sent the supercut to his wife using the email address she had posted on LinkedIn. I don't know what became of that, but I imagine it wasn't good. On Monday, Baseball Dad wasn't on the call. My boss snooped and found out that he had a few complaints prior and got immediately canned after we sent it through. He didn't see vendors as people, so he was shocked that his words towards us counted against his third strike policy. Apparently, he melted down completely as he was being fired. He said it was all because we were incompetent, but the other 4 team leads had all put in their numbers and said that it wasn't on our end. Their products were slaying. Wish I could have seen it. I imagine he came home to a very angry wife as well. We're all hitting the bar tonight in his honor. Thanks, Baseball Dad. Well played indeed. I'm sure that this supercut actually does probably sound insane. When you combine everything he said over a long period of time, it's gonna sound pretty wild no matter what, since we already know some of the expressions that he tends to use. It's always weird when somebody has a job to do but they can't help but let certain aspects of their personality bleed into the work when nobody wants that, nobody asked for that. So do you think this revenge was just right, or do you think it was going too far? Since he ended up losing his job, the wife situation, and everything beyond. Let me know down below. Am I the jerk for pretending I didn't know my coworker was talking to me? For background, I have a name that can be spelled one way but said a couple different ways. Think Clara, which could be said Clara or Clara. I've been working with this coworker, let's call him T, for nearly 4 months. T apparently has only ever heard my name as spelled, said one way, and seems to be hell-bent on only saying it that way. The problem is, the way he says my name isn't my name. A bit after I first started gently correcting him when he got it wrong, actually, it said the other way. He immediately immediately got huffy with me and just said, "Whatever, I need you to do the task." Since then, he hasn't said my name correctly. Every time I try and nicely remind him how it's said, he responds like the first time, huffy and annoyed. So starting 2 days ago, I stopped responding if he didn't say it properly. The first day after saying my name wrong 4 times to get my attention, he came over and said, "Hey, I was talking to you." I just looked back and said, "Oh, sorry. My name is Clara, so I didn't realize." Since then, I've kept up the same act and he's been getting more and more agitated. Finally, at the end of shift today, another worker came up and told me that T was complaining to anyone who would listen about what a B I'm being, and the CW asked if I could stop antagonizing him because he's a pain to work with now. I just said, we'll see, because T hasn't actually stopped calling me by the wrong name, and in my opinion, it's not that hard to use my name properly. I might be the jerk because I know this is petty, and someone else has said that I'm making things harder for them, but after 4 months, it just feels really disrespectful not to use my name properly. Am I the jerk for pretending I don't know when my coworker is talking to me? It's one thing if he's trying to say the name and he's making a mistake or he is actually forgetting, but he isn't. It's not a mistake. He is willfully choosing to say it the wrong way when he clearly knows it's the other way. Why else would somebody do that other than to agitate them, or if you care so little about that person you won't even bother to change it? From the sounds of it, it's an easy common name to use and to remember. Sometimes when people do stuff like this, they have some weird rationale in their mind that they're putting you in your place or keeping you in check, but really it just comes off as them being a jerk. So let me know what you would do if somebody kept saying your name wrong over and over again on purpose, and jerk or not a jerk, and why. Am I the jerk for having a witch house? I'm a 31-year-old female and I recently bought my first home all on my own. I'm super happy about it, but an encounter with a new neighbor earlier today kind of threw me off my groove, and now I'm wondering if I've been a jerk. Basically, while I wouldn't call myself goth, my style is similar. Corporate goth, I guess you could say. Lots of black, and when I use color in my personal life, it tends to be very dark shades. When I was house hunting, I didn't pay too much attention to paint color or anything, and just searched for a house that fit my needs and my budget. And I found it, with a good commute to work in a quiet neighborhood. It was bright yellow with blue shutters and doors and bright flowers in the yard, but I knew I could paint it. I had a bit left on my lease, so before I moved in, I had the house painted a pale, warm shade of gray with black trim and white shutters and doors, and the flowers were replaced with ones that better fit my color scheme. And I added a dark leaf plum tree to the front yard. Anyway, it's been a few days since I moved in and I was out in my yard when this older woman came up to me and started asking if I was the one who did this. Why did I need to make my house so witchy and dark? She said I ruined the look of the whole neighborhood and it was going to bring down property values. I told her to get away from my property because she was starting to yell, then went inside. Later I started to wonder, it's my house and it looks nice to me, but the other houses are very colorful and mine stands out a lot. I don't think it will sink property values, but it does clash a lot. And I feel I should clarify, I don't personally identify as a witch. I'm an atheist. That's just what she said my house looked like. So am I the jerk for having a witch house? Having a house like that in the neighborhood sounds pretty awesome, but if people in a neighborhood know that they want the houses around them to look a very specific way, they should probably buy houses in HOA communities, because this obviously all took place outside of an HOA where you can do whatever you want. Sometimes the downsides of that are people having a bunch of broken down cars in their front yard or things that could frustrate you a lot more, but someone painting their house a certain color is probably the least of your problems if you're trying to bank on the property values being at a certain price at a certain time. It doesn't even sound like this house is an eyesore, it's just a different scheme than the rest of the houses in the neighborhood. But let me know if something like this would bother you down below, and jerk or not a jerk, and why. Am I the jerk for asking my neighbors not to get a dog? So I live in a nice neighborhood where everyone gets along. I have a severe dog allergy and my neighbors have all agreed not to get dogs so as to avoid my worsening allergy. Recently, my next door neighbor moved and a new family moved in. They seem like nice people. However, while talking to me, one of them brought up that they were in fact planning on getting a dog. I told them about my condition and how I would appreciate it if they didn't buy a dog. Yesterday, I saw them bringing a puppy into their home, which I later found out is an American Akita. I asked my neighbors about why they got a dog despite my condition, and they were very flippant towards me and basically told me that they can do what they want since they paid for their house. They also said I was rude to even expect them to avoid getting a dog. I can barely breathe when I go into my front garden due to their dog. For those asking, I don't think it's fair to expect me to take medication which can have side effects for someone else's animals. I've seen people suggesting that I should just move to a ranch property to avoid dogs. If anyone wants to give me $1 million that I need to do this, then I'd be more than happy happy to. So, am I the jerk for asking my neighbors not to get a dog? I wonder what the OP would do in a situation where the neighbors move in and they already have a dog. Would the OP ask that family to get rid of their dog? I'm pretty surprised actually that all of the other neighbors agreed to never getting dogs because of this allergy, since I don't think most people would care about an allergy over getting a dog that they want. I'm guessing that either this is the nicest community of people ever, or they just didn't want a dog in the first place. So what would you say if your neighbor asked you not to get a cat or a dog because of their allergy? Would you comply or would you say no? Let me know down below in jerk or not a jerk and why. Am I the jerk for telling my friend that he got exactly what he wanted and he needs to stop being selfish? I have an old college friend, Nick, who's 32, and his fiancée, Sophie, who's 24. They've been together for 3 years and Nick has repeatedly suggested an open relationship, to which Sophie has refused. Until a few months ago when he said that he would only propose if she agreed to try an open relationship. She agreed. I said to him at the time that he was a jerk for it, and he said he was just acting in his best interests. Now, Nick wanted an open relationship so he could see Anna, who was 29, a girl we know from college who he always had a thing for, but she was married from the time she was 18 to 26, so he never had a chance until recently. He hasn't had a chance to see her yet because she had been living with her sick mom and they can't afford to rent a hotel room. Now, the issue is that Nick showed up at my house last weekend with a suitcase, absolutely livid, and asked to crash on my couch. He said Sophie had gone out to dinner and had done the deed with a male model, and that she was cheating because he hadn't got the chance to see Anna, and it was unfair for her to see someone so much hotter than Anna. Not that Anna isn't attractive. I basically laughed at him and told him this is exactly what was going to happen and that he was being selfish, expecting Sophie not to see anyone or to see people less attractive than her. She's very attractive and I don't know why she's with Nick, to be honest. He went off on me for not being supportive and stormed out and is trying to turn our friend group against me for not supporting him. I've taken a few days to think about it, but I can't decide. Am I the jerk for telling my friend that he got exactly what he wanted and he needs to stop being selfish? There is a possibility that Anna doesn't see Nick the same way that Nick sees Anna, unless they've somehow been keeping in touch and they both know that they're going to do this thing together. What if Nick just thinks that Anna would be into him if she had the opportunity to be with him? And that could very well not be the case at all. But let's say it is. How would Nick know that before this open relationship began? It seems a little suspicious. The way that Nick phrased it was that he was mad that she did it before he did, but somehow I think that even if he did it first and then Anna did this, he would probably still be upset. But this is what he asked her to do over and over again and she didn't want to do it until he basically gave her an ultimatum. If you were in this situation, how would you handle it? And let me know, jerk or not a jerk, down below. Am I the jerk for aiding the enemies of my boyfriend? My boyfriend and I have been spending a few days at his sister's place. They have 3 kids ranging from age 6 to 10, cute little monsters, and they adore their uncle. So they've been playing and roughhousing a lot. Yesterday, the kids wanted to have ice cream and asked my boyfriend to take them to a place nearby. However, my boyfriend set them a condition. Make me admit defeat and you get ice cream. The kids were excited and tried everything to take him down, but all 3 of them landed in the pool a few times. Eventually, I called the kids over and whispered to them that my boyfriend is extremely ticklish, especially at his feet, and sure enough, they managed to topple him and tickle the heck out of him, eventually getting a "I give up." The kids were overjoyed and we all went to get ice cream. Later, my boyfriend said that I committed a betrayal of the highest order and I owed him. I countered that I simply leveled the playing field in an unfair contest. A true warrior would have overcome his weakness. We decided to ask for judgment here. Based on the outcome, one of us has to buy dinner for the other. So, who's in the right, who's in the wrong? Easy choice. Give the nephews all the ammunition they can get, otherwise what chance would they have? All is fair in love and war. When you subscribe, make sure to hit the bell to turn on notifications. To finish listening to all the stories in this series, use the playlist at the top of the description. And next time you live stream, use the cream of the crop music. Search for Cream of the Stream on Spotify or whatever music platform you use for copyright-free music to use for your stream. It's free. Cream of the Stream. Either way, thanks a lot for listening. I'll see you guys next time.